like to thank everybody for taking the time out of their very busy schedules to come and be here. I think we really should start our meeting with a pledge of allegiance, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
Okay.
We have a flag in?
Yes, we
Right
do,
there,
right
behind
behind
us.
us. Oh. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, everybody has a copy of last meeting. If you could just review those and let me know.
Glasses.
How you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Busy as a one-armed baby. No grass grows under my feet.
Thank you very much.
What is it?
If you have an extra copy, that's fine, but otherwise, thank you.
Okay, how do we do with the minutes?
I recommend one, just change J.D. Ray Ray to D.J. Ray Ray. If you're gonna submit that, you know,
They've already been submitted,
Yeah.
but we can certainly resubmit it.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as described.
Thank you, Bill. All in favor?
No, second.
Second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, treasurer's report?
Okay, after all the expenses, there was a negative balance of $148.42, but then once the extra T-shirts and hats were sold, they made $300, and so now we're in a positive. If you add it to the other budget, it's $634.58 for next year,
That's in the donation account.
for donation.
Right.
I don't see the $200 that will be coming in from G.J. Ray Ray.
Don't have a bill. These are for all the bills that we have
Okay.
received.
But there's enough in there to cover it.
There is enough in there to cover.
We have
Is he
630.
reimbursing the money, Bill? Is he
Pardon?
gonna reimburse us the money?
I gave him 200 out of my pocket.
Right, is he gonna reimburse you?
Yeah, no, actually, what we agreed to was to give him 400 altogether for coming. So I told him to submit an invoice for $200. And once that comes in, that will be paid out of this budget. So
To
that'd be-
you?
Not to me, no.
No,
'Cause,
this is an additional two.
he offered to do it for 200. I offered to pay for that. But because he was making a very special effort, I discussed at one of the meetings that I believe we should give him $400 to come down, all the way down from Winchendon and so on and so forth. And the other 200 would come out of the money that we had in the budget. So I would anticipate there'd be another $200 invoice, which would come from him and be paid to him. I don't expect to get reimbursed.
So Bill, let me ask, can I just ask you this? He didn't do what he said he was gonna do. We had no music.
Yeah.
So why are we paying him?
There was music because the fellow who was driving my truck said that he could clearly hear it coming out of the back. So
Okay.
whether or not, I don't know how effective it was, but literally it was playing. And also Laurie Reed, who was in the truck, in the trailer with him, said there was music. So it was playing. But needless to say, I was not nearby there, so I
Yeah.
can't verify that, other than, did you hear any music?
I
I
didn't.
didn't, but I was in the front,
You
so.
were before him,
Yeah.
so,
Yes.
yeah, so.
I walked down past Flo's. I didn't hear any music.
Yeah, and
With
of
the
course,
pictures of the horses and stuff, I heard nothing.
yeah, he would have stopped at Flo's.
Right, I didn't hear nothing.
And at that point, he wouldn't have made any more music. Well, he was supposed to continue to make music for the rest of the parade.
Yeah.
Right.
That is correct, so,
I heard nothing.
okay, well, and he hasn't submitted the invoice yet, so perhaps he's decided not to. But
Okay.
if he does, I would suspect that we'd be responsible for paying it. We wouldn't consider perhaps using him again next year, because we hope to have something different for music for next year.
Correct.
Mhm.
So, we could talk about that just for 30 seconds. Claude and I worked, last week, we put the application together, it has been submitted to the Army for next year,
Great.
for a band. So, we're hopeful, no promises.
We
What-
should do a whole bunch of applications, a whole bunch.
We
The more you
definitely
put
need
in
to
We
there-
have
have
another
backups.
one from the, prison, John Nason's son, works at the prison. So, he's gonna help us with one for the prison band. If we have two bands or more,
Oh,
and
Yeah,
that, and that, and the armed force one, they don't charge.
Yeah.
Ray
They don't
Ray,
charge.
if bills you for 200, it'll come out of you.
That's correct. Should he, perhaps he was dissatisfied with what he did, and therefore he won, but I haven't had any communication with him.
But you'll get the bill?
Pardon?
No,
You'll get
he's
the
supposed
bill?
to send it here, right?
No, he was told, I specifically gave him name, address, and to your attention, Sue, when it came in.
Oh, okay.
So if there's any question from the accountant treasurer, she'll come over to you and say, what's this for?
Okay.
And there may be additional paperwork that would be necessary, like a cover sheet,
Yep,
and it would be for services rendered for
Memorial.
Memorial Day. But duly noted that there were individuals that did not hear the performance, so hopefully we'll have a better variety to select from.
well, the title of our meeting is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, so, you
Yeah.
know,
I mean,
we're
maybe
gonna hear
next year
about it.
Maybe next year, if we don't actually have a band, I mean, I do have additional speakers available to us, so maybe we could like do a set playlist going, from the field to the common, and basically like have them play through, you know, the, speakers on additional floats.
We had, one year we couldn't get a band, so we had the singers
Yeah.
there. We had a lot of veterans there too. We had a gentleman who had sound systems, and he put them on the floats.
Yeah.
And they would play, my son-in-law has a little camp amp, we call it, he put it on one of the floats, and then we had different music on each float, and you know what, it is loud, it was good, you could hear them coming. They have sound systems now that are great, so we should really think about
Yeah.
somebody who knows how to run them. That's
Yeah.
the
That's
thing.
your key.
Yeah,
Educate.
it has the equipment for
Yeah.
it, you know?
Okay,
That and the,
We have one here that's on battery, and
okay,
it would last the whole parade.
okay, so before we're getting a little off track, can we accept the treasurer's report?
yes.
Are we okay with that?
I'll make
So
a
we have-
motion that we accept the treasurer's report as discussed.
Thank you, Bill.
Need a second.
Whoop.
Okay.
Vote. Vote.
Vote,
All
all
in
set?
favor?
Yeah.
Yeah,
all set.
aye, okay. Okay, what did we do right?
I think it was good we had the bicycles. I didn't know for sure if I was gonna like that, but you know what? I think the kids were perfect. They acted right. They pushed their bikes. The bikes were pretty decorated.
Yeah,
I think that was a good idea. I liked that, even though I wasn't sure at first, but I think it worked out great.
Thank you.
And they walked with the bikes, right?
And they walked with them and
Yeah.
they did a great job,
Good.
yeah. So we're gonna say the bikes would be, maybe a
Bikes
yes
would
for next
definitely-
year,
Good kick.
yeah?
You may get more next year too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that.
And it
Especially
does-
the kids where like, it was very popular with the kids and.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it includes you young, it gets the community together, which is great. Yeah.
I had a thought. You know, we kinda cut it off at the 5th grade. Do we wanna include maybe Quabbin Junior High next year?
Why
For the
not?
bikes?
For those kids, for the bikes, or, you know,
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't
And,
see why
and
not.
it makes sense, because honestly, like, the more involved that they have, the more chances of maybe getting donations in the future from.
well, we're not, that's a good point, but we're also looking to really make this a nice community event, which I think we achieved on this last one, or at least in the feedback that I've gotten.
I think the senior singers were a great asset.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Literally, that's why I had the microphones put nearby them so they could be heard.
Yeah.
And there were 10 to 12. Mrs. Como did a great job with a nice variety of songs. It filled in the amount of time we needed beforehand, which was very essential.
Yeah.
And because we were kind of lined up by 11:35, so we had time to utilize, and that worked out well. They were helpful when they did the response for the taps.
That came out beautiful.
Yes.
And I wasn't quite sure with that one either, I was like, what? But you know what, that was beautiful.
I think the variety and the number of speakers we had were also an asset. We represented the state, we represented the community, we represented our veterans, we represented our VOA, we represented our town. The length of the speeches I thought were appropriate. I was trying to listen carefully to see if the topics dovetailed, or did they repeat themselves over and over again. And I thought that, considering that there was no choreography between our speakers, they all covered the topic we asked them to cover in a finite period of time. And so you didn't see eyes rolling, people yawning, people thinking that it was too much blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so I thought that that was definitely a plus. Moving our seniors over to the shady side was also a plus. A definite plus was the weather. Couldn't ask for a better day. I believe the militia did a great job. They did exactly what they were set out to do. They spoke in a tone and fashion that was heard by people. And I believe that, considering our militia goes back to 50 years ago, because I was in the bicentennial group in '75, we marched down to Lexington and Concord. And there are a few people like Hillary Scott still in it. And so I thought that that is a definite part of the process that should be
Yeah.
repeated over and over again.
Yeah.
Okay, so my thought is, I agree with a lot of what you said, Bill, but I think that you should move the 5 veterans and the people who are speaking. They're in the sun, it's too hot.
Well, I was gonna
Too
say,
hot.
put a canopy up.
Something, because it was too
Next to
hot
the
for
Yeah,
you
because
guys.
we had almost 20. I put 21 chairs there.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
if we move the podium over a little bit and just move them, because where I was standing, it was shade, you know?
Or spend part of this on a canopy.
How big of a canopy would we need for
Oh,
that, that spot?
we got them in here, we got a blue one, we got a, you know, we've got,
Usually 10
we've
by
got the
10.
pop-ups.
Are those big enough? Is
Yeah.
that enough room?
Yeah.
I don't think so. We need 2 of them.
No,
Two.
yeah,
Little
We
big.
got to, and the friends have a big one,
Mhm.
a big
But I
one,
think
so
that'd be a
that
good
would-
idea.
I'd be willing to put some money towards that for
The
next year.
singers were also in the sun.
Singers were,
Well,
they were in the
They were
shade.
in the
Singers?
sun.
Well,
Yeah, they
well,
were in the sun.
Where we gonna
I
put
went
them?
over
saw them.
They're as far
I didn't
away
see
as
the
I could
sun,
put them.
so-
I know, but they were
without being
in
on
the
Brigham
s-
Street.
Yeah,
yeah. We
I
need
didn't
to
see
put a
And
tent
last
over
year,
there.
that was shady by noontime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see them in the, I didn't see the singers in the sun, I saw the vets.
Anybody complain?
Not to me.
No, but I just
I'd
so
leave them right where
noted.
they are.
The other,
Okay.
the other thing.
Any further back, they'll be on Brigham Street.
Okay.
The other
No,
thing-
they need to be.
So the other thing I was thinking, that I got a little complaint was, not really a complaint, but I think we had 4 speakers, we might need just 3. I just know that, you know, Raj, right? Geez, the speakers are pretty long there, Claude. I don't know, if this was last year, I wouldn't have been able to make it, he says to me. So, that was the only thing we can review that, think about it, whatever.
Yeah, 'cause
We
you-
were sitting out there a long time.
Yeah, but
Sitting
you
out
want,
there. And it was in the sun, and it
less
was
than
in
an
the-
hour. And you
With that
wanna
sign, I
have,
mean, yeah.
we certainly wanna have state representation.
Yes,
We
yes,
certainly wanna have veteran representation.
yes,
Yeah.
We certainly wanna have local representation, that could be 3.
yep, yep,
I believe introducing our VOA to the town was essential.
absolutely.
Yeah, that was a good idea.
Yeah,
Introducing our TA, our town administrator, is essential.
Yeah.
yeah.
But visiting that next year and maybe,
And we got,
um,
who
yeah,
was
maybe
the
you could
guy
cut
you
one
got?
down.
He
Yeah.
was pretty good.
Viola, and he loved it.
He did a very
Did
good
he?
job.
Loved it.
Yes, he did.
If, you know, break glass in case of emergency, I'm sure he would probably be willing to do it again next year if we needed
Oh, good,
him to.
good to know, yes.
yeah, you know, when I read his bio, he's made presentations at Harvard.
Yeah.
He's almost like what do they call it, the toast guys that do the speaking, Toastmasters.
Yeah.
But he was good and he kept it to a good, and what was the number he gave? See how good you were listening?
The amount that,
I'm not gonna
from,
put you on the spot,
Iraq,
yeah.
it was like 7,084, I think it was.
Yeah, it probably is by now.
7,076.
7076, yeah.
Yeah.
And poor Lauren, she gets up there and her number was a little different.
Yeah.
And so I said, don't worry about it, you know,
Yeah.
his is up to date, yours might be
Yeah.
a month old.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also think that we emphasize the meaning of Memorial Day, which needs to be repeated over and over and over again.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I would say, in my humble opinion, that the kids were not up to the same level as the kids were the previous year.
I agree.
Really?
But they did, you know.
I
They
thought
did
they did.
They did okay. There were 2 of them that had the paper with them. But, you know, I don't remember being in the 5th grade, but.
Last year
I think
was
they were good.
exceptional.
They were good.
You can't, you know, they
That
were,
last
they
year
were
they were
unbelievable.
exceptional. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Oh, that little girl,
Yeah, she did it again this year.
no, she,
Yeah.
She wasn't the little one with the blue dress on?
no,
No, they were all
No.
different.
she wasn't. She didn't do it. They were away this year, cause I,
Oh.
yeah.
But they were good.
Yeah.
Yeah, not-
And I
Well-
wonder, do you think that people down by the monument could hear them? I don't know, cause
No, but also the speaker system that we had for there,
It was a
I
little.
didn't feel like it reached the whole entire field, and it was very echoey at time. And I mean, that could just be like the adjustments that they were making at the time being. Also,
and Rick was, as you know, he was adjusting it,
Yeah.
depending on
Yeah.
the speaker.
and
Yeah.
And then the girls were coming up and adjusting the microphone.
there was also a couple of times when you were talking to Tom about what was
Yeah.
gonna happen next, and he didn't shut off the mic, he basically heard what you guys were talking about right on the field, so.
Well, Bill,
I have one,
honestly.
I have, just
For
one
me,
more,
like-
one more thing.
Yeah.
I think, I know when the kids were riding the horses, right? I know Illy was having a little trouble with hers, and then the Claudia, and then Amy, and then the fire department, and I think, Grasshopper and his wife were behind
Yeah,
them, and somebody started blowing the horns.
Oh, really? They were
Yeah.
asked not to do that.
I know, but I guess maybe they gotta make it, either Bob has to make sure his men know
Mhm.
that they're not supposed to do that, because I think, you know, Grasshopper and his wife were saying, you know, no, no, because you don't know what they're
Yeah.
gonna do, you don't, plus it's not, they're not,
You don't wanna spook the horses,
No.
for sure.
no.
Yeah.
So maybe next year we could just kinda see if Bob could be a little bit more,
Yeah.
communicate with his men a little bit better. with that, I guess.
Brittany was in touch with me this morning. Roger Aikinen was, did anybody see the drone up?
no,
No.
I didn't,
I have a feeling he may not have made it.
No.
Cause I put Brittany, from our local cable access
Yep.
in touch with Roger, and she wrote this morning and said she's called him, but he hasn't called her back. Did he do the footage? And of course, I don't know,
I
but I'll.
didn't see it, but I wasn't
Last year it was like-
really looking for it
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
In the
Last
moment,
year it was
you
there
know.
all the way down.
It was very obvious to you,
Yeah.
then, huh?
Yeah.
I
So I'll
gotta-
find out. We may have not have had the drone up. He
Okay.
said he would do it, and I talked to him the week before, but I'm not sure. Something happened, and therefore, he didn't, but I'll be calling him tonight. Okay,
Chief,
now we
are
wanna.
we done with the
yeah.
parade, or do we wanna start
No, we
talking-
wanna talk about things that didn't go right. know
I'm doing,
Chief-
I'm on what can be improved, and I can put a whole bunch of stuff in there.
Okay.
And how can we improve?
So next year, I believe we're gonna really have to take a look at what we do after the parade with Main Street.
Yeah,
The tank broke down after they turned it off, and they had trouble starting it
Yeah.
after, so it was a large roadblock for a little while, but
They had that tractor trailer trying to make a turn off Brigham. and
right,
everything.
so we may not be, I don't know that we'll be able to park on the side of Main Street next year anyways, depending on what it looks like once they finish,
yeah.
or once they at least put in curbing for sidewalks and things like that. We probably won't have room. Now, this year, we had a ton of room in the parking lot here, because we had it closed off, so nobody was in here parking. So that would be an option where we could have the vehicles that are staying, like whether it be the classic cars, they can park up at the top. We can have that all open.
At the top, meaning,
At the top of the lot, so people can still see their vehicles, and,
is there enough room for, how many cars? 15?
Yeah.
you know, we'd have to measure it out.
I mean,
take
the
a
rest
good
of the
look at it, but
military
probably.
vehicles
I don't think
bounced.
we even had that many stay, but,
No.
whatever does stay will have to probably be put in the parking lot here,
Yeah.
would be my guess.
The guy on 62 that was in there, he bounced as soon as we got to the common.
Right.
So, you know.
Cause that time of day traffic is,
Yeah, and
you know.
even the Jeeps and stuff like that, they bounced as soon as we got to the common too.
yeah, right. But, yeah, it's just, we see more traffic volume now than we have in a while. You know, it seems to get more and more congested every year, so we'll have to take a look at that and make sure that we can,
Maybe,
we'll still be able to close the road and do what we do,
So
but.
the bike lane's not gonna make it wider?
The road is gonna taper there to slow traffic down,
Yeah.
and it's gonna taper up by the rec field as well. So,
I mean.
we're just gonna have to see what it looks like and just kinda.
Would
go
it
with
be
the flow.
since we have all those classic cars and everything else like that, and then after, we get done with the ceremony, wouldn't it make sense to have the classic cars park in the school parking lot, so that way you could just like go
We-
across and then basically have the, visualization of everything that's come out there? It would make better sense, because there's a lot of space and a lot of especially with the roundabout there.
Mhm.
You could actually
What are they
have-
supposed to do between 12 and 1?
You can walk right around the building.
Where?
Right around the building, and it goes right up to the field.
That's where people park, Scott.
You mean in front here?
Some people.
That's where you.
Yeah, but what if
Yeah,
there's more than
public
that
parks.
that wanted to stay?
Cause I know my wife was parked
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, a lot of people park in the
Yeah.
parking lot to see the parade.
I had feedback from Sean Shea, a relative, from North County Hot Rods, and he said, we're really happy that we're able to stay, because the year before they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't get the word. But if we were to have access for 15 cars, I never got down to see what was there, but that might accommodate the number would stay, because
I believe it would.
Yeah.
I believe it would.
and there were so many people that have so many other things to do.
Yeah.
That they do bounce, and we understand that. I think we're really grateful that they come in the first place.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many, would you, you guys are up the field, would you estimate how many antique and classic cars we had altogether?
We had like, what, 4 motorcycles, I think it was, and then there was
That's not
like
bad.
15 to 20 cars.
I think cars,
Make about sense?
I think cars should
There was the
probably
two
look at maybe
5
15.
tons,
Okay.
and then there was there was 2 5 tons, like four Jeeps,
I'm not counting
and then
them
there
as
was
classic
the,
cars.
I am not either, yeah. That was my
But I mean,
question.
in general, that's pretty much what we were dealing with. We had the 2 5-tons, we had the tank, we had like 3 or 4 Jeeps, and then like 20 classic cars, and then, you know, the fire truck, which you can't, you know,
No,
get
that wouldn't
around.
count. So I'm
But-
just trying to think of logistics, and my sense would be, the previous year we had 32
Yeah.
antique cars. 20 is a good turnout,
Mhm.
because there's a lot of places they can go. So if it were in that proximity of the 20, maybe half of them are gonna stay.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think we
So
can.
allow for 20?
Yeah, then we can handle it.
And I think it'll be important to, probably get input from them before
Yeah.
we actually start
They
moving.
wanna plan on staying.
Whether they're gonna stay or whether they're not going to stay, and some instruction to them afterwards that, alright, if you're not staying, you'll continue and
Yeah. Well,
go on your way, but,
Me and Patrick basically went up and down the line and informed them, hey, if you wanted to stay after the thing, you just had to line around the you know, the street. right
And
in
did
front
they
of the
actually
library.
do any U-turns and go back the other way too?
we had some of the at least 1 or 2 of the motorcycles did, but,
I don't think-
crossing people and the way everybody was parked it was difficult because
Yeah.
you couldn't see the pedestrians trying to cross, so,
Yeah.
so we were out there for a little while, the officers were trying to, you know, make sure we get everybody across the street without anybody getting hit, and then clearing the traffic that had backed up.
Clearing,
So,
what do you mean?
we had traffic that was backed
Oh,
up
yeah.
behind the parade.
Okay,
that had
oh,
come
I
back
got you,
68,
yeah,
so.
yeah, where you opened the road up, but they
Right.
wasn't totally open.
So it just takes, and that's not a major thing, it just takes some time to clear it after, we do it, so.
And so I'd be interested, Chief, what other ways, did you think it, wasn't a good thing and what needs to be improved?
So ceremony wise, I thought everything went pretty well. I think we could provide some instruction on when to render a hand salute and not, cause when they put the flag up,
Yeah.
there was like, even the
Right.
ROTC, I think they got spoken to by their,
Yeah.
leader for not, cause I don't think they anticipated that it was gonna go up
Oh.
with no music or anything like that, so
Yeah.
it was kinda a thing that we should probably put into the program where, okay, we're going to do
Yeah,
this,
have
and
the master
anybody
of
can.
ceremonies
Right,
say,
right.
this would be the time.
I think that would
Like
be
I was doing
important to
the,
do that. Yes.
a couple of times, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
like it would be nice. Like Tom was in charge of the whole entire, speaking. It would have been nice to like have him call
Yeah,
to
so adding
the
into
veterans to attention
comments that
and
he
stuff
made,
like that.
that would be a good idea, yeah.
Yeah, just having for him to probably just even, or whoever does it, have an agenda.
Yeah.
Kind of written down, and
And
they could say,
literally,
can you
like,
please stand?
when to stand and when
And
not to
we're
stand,
going to
yeah.
do this, or please take your seats, things
Yeah.
like that, I think,
Well,
would be-
the instructions say, ask all to stand as the American flag is raised.
Yeah.
So, is that when you also say,
That's when you would also add in.
please take off your hat?
Yeah,
Either
I
remove
say
your hat or
or
render,
time for
or
a
render a
military
hand
salute.
salute,
Render a
right.
salute, yeah.
And rendering that salute, Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road, is for veterans. And anybody wearing a ball
Yeah.
cap doesn't render a hand
Right,
salute.
correct.
Yeah.
Just like it was announced at the town meeting.
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
I thought that the moderator, that was a very appropriate comment, and that it was also well given. You know, I understood it. If I understand something, it's gotta be pretty simple. So.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, some people
Yes.
don't know, you know, they just
Right.
don't know, and they,
No.
And they wanna do
even
it
some
right.
people that might be in the military or be a
yeah.
veteran may not know.
Exactly.
So it's, I think it's a good idea to have that, just so it's,
Yeah, because
Little
he
cleaner.
also did not invite the Green Sisters up to sing, even though it says thank you to the Green Sisters for their wonderful rendition of the Star Spangled Banner, so
right, I think we missed
that
that one
verbiage needs to
somewhere.
be put in there as well.
Mhm. What else?
Okay.
I don't really have much else, you know, I think
Because you
the
were
park-
flustered by the end of the day.
Yes, well,
Good
there's
job.
a lot of kind of last minute things that,
came up.
We just need to.
Tank breaking now, what's
Yeah.
last minute?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Beyond your control.
Well, that should just be expected every single Memorial Day, that
Right.
thing's gonna
Yeah.
break down.
Yeah.
I just thank God that it wasn't in the parking lot, because that would've been even worse to like get rid of like
If it
last
was in a
year.
parking spot, that would have been okay.
Yeah.
Speak up, Matt.
But yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
he has a comment.
but
Yeah. Did anybody notice when the commander had said what was gonna happen with the flag, it didn't happen the right way?
No,
Right.
it didn't.
Correct.
Right.
They need to practice that, because the flag is supposed to come all the way down and
Before-
go all the
right.
way back
It
up.
just went up.
I know that because
Right.
I was an armorer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did it last year, they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just not done
They-
properly.
Yes.
And then
So
the-
is
The
it supposed
commander
to be a
said it,
full
what-
staff?
which way it was
it should
gonna
have.
work.
It was at half in
Yeah.
the morning,
yeah.
Come
and then
down.
it needs to come all the way down before it goes all the way back
Oh,
up again.
almost to the
Correct.
ground, you mean, like?
Yes.
Yeah, all the way
Yes,
down.
all the
Then
way
I
down
stand
and
corrected,
back.
I
Right.
did not do that right, that was my fault.
Yeah, and then
So noted.
it's the same thing when you put it at half. It goes all the way
All the way
up,
up.
then it comes halfway down.
Okay, I
You
get
have
it.
to go all the way up first, pause.
Right, and when
then
it's
it comes
half-mast, it
halfway
goes
down.
up and then
Right.
all the way
Yeah.
down.
And then when you go back to full, it comes all the way down,
And
and
then
then
it goes all
pause
the
for
way
a
up.
second, and then it goes
Okay.
all the way back up again, so. That's just I think that can be
I think
cleaned
you
up
put,
with instruction.
Put in flag protocol.
Yes.
The group would take a look at that again to be sure we're doing it right.
Right.
Maybe next year we could see if Monty Tech, if they're gonna give us our ROTC kids again.
See if they
Maybe we
would do
could
it.
have a, like we did the dry run on Thursday. Maybe we could do a dry run right at the common to basically go over what's gonna end up happening.
But Scotty, if you're having the scouts do it, why would you be doing it with Monty Tech? Because
No,
that's
I-
something traditionally.
I'm just saying in
it's
general, I'm saying in general, whoever's gonna be handling the flag, that should be included in the dry
Yeah.
run on Thursday before we actually have the ceremony.
And with that in mind, two things. Number one, I reached out to Monty Tech to thank them, and they've already said they're more than willing to do it next year.
Good.
Yay.
So
Good.
be sure that because they were our color guard, by the way. The second thing would be, I believe it should be the scouts doing that. And what Katie said, because I offered to have the girls come up at that point too, because we have a larger Girl Scout contingent than we have a Boy Scout contingent. And she said, we need time to do that, because I have to select the girls, I don't wanna have any. So if we give Katie a 2-week notice
Yep,
about that,
yep.
then she'll have the girls ready, and then right that morning, because we have about 30 minutes beforehand.
Yeah.
After they come off the parade, we could go over and say, this is what you're gonna do, and go over and do it, so
Yeah.
that might work out pretty good.
Okay. We'll make sure it gets in.
Yeah, I thought closing the road and everything worked fine. It
Okay.
just takes some time after to clean it up, so to speak.
And of course, that limits the amount of patrolmen you can have in the parade too.
Right. Yeah, we didn't have any because they were all at a traffic post.
Yeah.
The
I was
fire
thinking-
department
And
definitely
it
did a
was,
cleanup.
it was
though.
it was my entire department,
was
mine was
thinking
probably
maybe
one
you could
person.
Tell the businesses in town to can't to postpone any deliveries they have due that day, so no trucks are trying to get in.
That happened, Monday?
No,
Monday?
Memorial Day, I don't think anyone.
Well, there was that.
There was that one truck, but I think he was just going,
With
he
the
was
gardener or
passing
something.
through. I don't think it was anything to do with our town. So, that was just a bad timing.
So Gary Kangas, let's talk about Gary. Gary's been around for a million years. His sister used to do a lot with the parade and stuff like that. And I'll take responsibility. I know that he always likes to be in the front of his parade with his car, taking the Grand Marshal in it or being kind of special. So I just thought maybe we should consider, calling him, and maybe he could still, he's very proud to do that, and he sets the pace. So I don't think we should forget him next year.
That's great.
No.
I can retire my Packard.
There was a
You're
gap
not gonna
between
retire
the
that
vehicles, and I was in the front, and I was trying to go as slow as I possibly could, but like, I was thinking I was at like 3 miles an hour, and I looked back at one point, and I was like, oh, there's a little bit of a gap here.
There was quite a
between-
big gaps.
Yeah,
There's a
Yes,
huge
there was
gap.
gaps.
it's just people walking
Close.
don't walk nearly
Yeah.
as fast as you think they're going to,
Yeah.
so.
And that old car can go really slow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
Can idle it down the road. Yeah.
Some of the feedback that I've received on that was, is it necessary, I think maybe next year we get somebody who is not gonna be marching, who will be responsible for the lineup, that's got a strong personality, will be very nice to the children, not that anybody wasn't, but you want a strong personality, nice to the kids, but get everybody,
Yeah, no,
So
you
that
go
they
here, you
run-
go there, you go
Yeah.
here, you go there.
yeah, like
If
some.
they couldn't get that right with the schematic that I put together and the dry run that I did, then
Well,
I thought getting people set at the field went really well.
Part of it, we were waiting for that trailer that never
Yeah.
came, so I was allowing space for it, you know?
Yeah.
what trailer?
the 15 guys coming from
Oh,
Worcester.
yeah, okay.
Well, the trailer
Yeah.
came, it just
I
didn't have
mean,
anybody on
yeah,
it.
no,
Yeah.
yeah.
We had the two, yeah,
Yeah.
they never showed up.
I mean, like getting, I was with your son and we got everybody lined up perfectly. And then I stayed behind, like I said, to make sure everybody was going in line, and then I followed the,
So how does
the
that
fire
need
truck at the
improvement?
end.
Well, there's
So,
a gap. Well, there was a
I think-
huge
Oh, there was a
gap.
gap literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Huge
huge
gap.
gap.
Down where I was, I allowed a big gap for them to show up.
Yeah,
Okay,
To
then,
who to show up?
that's easy.
Rich.
5 minutes before the parade starts.
Worcester,
close the gap.
Worcester can't, we had the float for
well,
it,
float didn't,
we did,
no, well, where it was supposed to be, it never showed up there,
No, the guys never showed up.
no,
the
Yeah.
floats were there, but the guys never showed up.
We only had 2 floats.
yeah.
And
Okay,
two
that's
floats.
simple. 5 minutes before the parade goes off, you can presume if there's a gap, that there's not gonna be anybody to fill that gap. So at that point, you'd go,
Well, I did fill it in
Okay.
after a while.
The
I saw,
other thing,
well, I saw the
the other
school
thing
bus
I
coming
think,
by and that guy was mad. I think
Yeah.
he was the one that went to Worcester.
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
thought
well,
he'd get a
that's
speed ticket. Yeah, he wasn't happy.
they called,
I think that's my
called.
next door neighbor.
What happened is, I don't know what happened, cause I called them twice and I went down there and saw them, and they were very excited about me,
yeah.
great,
yeah.
very excited about it. I gave them my home phone and my cell phone, and they called over here, Tony's number. Of course, it's Friday, I don't get no message.
Yeah.
So, and then the bus company called me and said they weren't there, and I kept calling. Come to find out, somebody higher above said that they couldn't come in the parade, which I didn't even know if
On
that's true or
Friday.
not.
On
Yeah.
Friday.
I didn't hear about this on Friday. I didn't hear about
No,
this
but
till
that's when
Memorial.
the decision must
Yeah,
have
she
been
heard
made,
it
yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
I heard it on,
Yeah,
so, I mean,
Tuesday.
I'm like,
Why are they calling
know.
somebody random instead of somebody on the committee?
yeah, so that wasn't good for them to do
Well,
that.
anyway, that was the only issue I had up there was, where are they?
Well, I think what
Everybody
happens
was
is,
wondering why they weren't.
I think if you're gonna do the lineup, you shouldn't be walking in front of the
Yeah.
parade, because now you've only got like one person, or, you know what I'm saying? Shouldn't be walking.
Okay, that's simple too.
Mm-hmm.
Find more volunteers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was actually thinking about this pretty heavily during the setup and everything else like that. We had Patrick that was up at the front, me that was in the middle, and then Uncle Richard at the end. And I was thinking in a case where like the communication, you would have to walk back and forth to actually talk to the
everybody.
person in the front, the person in the middle, and the person in the back. Next year we should probably grab some walkie-talkies and be able to be like, hey, you know what?
Did I
The
not
golden
put
age.
phone numbers to everybody?
Yeah,
Well,
but you have
Yeah,
no
but your cell
service
phones
at
don't work
the
down
field.
there.
No service
Well,
work.
they
Do
should
you
work
maybe
next
have-
year.
So that's why I'm
Maybe
saying
working
like
next year,
a
Chief?
walkie-talkie
What's
would
that?
make a
Cell
lot
service
more
down at the
sense.
rec field next year?
Well, that'll
No.
depend on the cell phone tower.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
radio tower across from the rec field is not
Did
gonna.
you see that, when that church burnt
Cell
down,
phones
Spencer,
on
that's
it?
where their cell phone tower
Not right
was?
now, I don't know if it will in
Everybody
the
in
future,
Spencer
but it
wants-
won't immediately have cell phone coverage there, so.
So I just think, yeah, the communication, you know, a lot of times it's just the damn communication. Cause like Amy said, Mom, we didn't know where to go, we didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I guess Grasshopper, she said, I think my mom said that we were supposed to go in front of the fire. That's what I said,
Yeah.
Amy, you're going in
Yeah.
front of the fire. She said, I think but she said, nobody came near me. Nobody came
There
to
were
tell me
also was a few people that were
where we were gonna go.
kinda disabled,
Yeah.
And they showed up in cars and they wanted to park up there until the float showed up,
Up where?
up at
Yeah.
the end of the parking lot, the rec field.
Well, that's fine.
So I
Yep.
said, go on the dirt road, it's where,
Yeah.
The other issue that I really had at the rec field, was, the drop-offs, that were coming up off the field. When we were basically getting everybody set, especially the classic cars and everything else like that, there was a lot of people that were just basically blocking the road and not, moving whatsoever. So I'm thinking like any kind of drop-offs in the future, it should be put out that like the drop-offs need to happen at Go Green and then they can walk down to where they need to be. Because I mean, the person that's at the very end of the rec field basically could tell, hey, you know what, you're in this spot,
yeah, but
you're
some
in
of
that
them
spot.
are not able to walk down there.
Yeah.
That's why they were sitting up at the.
No, I'm more talking around like the Cub Scouts basically, and like I got attitude from a couple of the drop off fathers that like, why are you telling me to move my car, because we need the space for people that are coming in right now. So that was
So include that in the
an issue.
invitation.
Yeah.
Okay, that's easy.
Or a specific spot to drop people off who
Then the
are
other
unable
thing.
to, like, one couldn't even climb onto the float, two people had to help.
Yeah. The other thing too is like when we do it this next year, we should really get cones so that way we can preset where people are gonna park. Basically like say with the
sign
Golden
in the
Ages when
cone?
they roll in, you're gonna be in spot 13A.
Or you
So
put a si-
you get what I'm saying?
Great idea,
And then
right on.
you can
You
have
could
the
put a
cones,
sign
like,
in the
set up
cone.
field.
Or we
You
can,
know?
I mean, I can get as many cones as you want from the DPW.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
not
if
an
it-
issue.
If we could make some kind
Yeah.
of sign that's slid right into the cone, you know,
Guys,
guess-
okay, so we have $638 left over. Okay, we're gonna get a bill for 200.
Did we talk about the mailing? Do you think that mailing all those invitations out to every single veteran in town was worth it?
I don't think
No.
You think
I
it
don't
did
think
any
it
good?
dragged anybody in. I think that, should we be approaching it a different way?
Yeah.
Should we have people throughout the year calling some
We
of the
have the
veterans?
cable committee that we could do, we could have the meet with the cable committee and do a request over the cable, you know, we could
Yeah.
Okay,
do
so,
that.
well, that's one thing that we could maybe do.
Cable, social media, we should be really organizing more on that platform, especially through Hubbardston people. It basically, once something goes on there and people ask questions, it basically goes
Katie
like
had it out.
wildflower. Oh,
I put it on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Facebook page.
Yeah, good.
yeah,
But I would agree that the cost and effort put into the mailing probably did not make much of a difference at all and was time consuming. So I would probably recommend
And you-
that
we don't
not
do
be
that,
one of
yeah.
those.
posted them in the stores, right? Local stores.
Well, the
So-
invitation to march, yeah, the
Probably
announcing
should
the
do that
parade,
again.
yeah, but we sent them a letter saying, hey, you got one nice.
So did you tell them what happened to us this weekend?
No, I haven't, but it's right
Got it.
there.
We
Anxious
were
to hear.
selling the t-shirts and stuff up there, and we made $300. I think we did really well. Yeah,
That's,
$5
I
for
think
each
that's
t-shirt.
pretty
We
cool.
did great, you know, we don't let anybody go by the tent without yelling at them.
Claudia's a great salesperson.
I am.
Claudia
She
doesn't
is.
need a foghorn.
No, she
No.
doesn't, she just grabs them as they go
I've
by.
been selling to them, my mother would say, go sell those poppies and don't come back till they're gone. Or it's tickets or whatever she would sell. But this guy came by, I forgot now what organization it was, but this guy came by my tent and he said, listen, he said, we have a function going on at Kimball's in Lancaster. And it's the Fall Harvest Festival application. And he said, I want you there, cause you would fit right in, because it has a lot to do with veterans, they got a lot of veterans stuff there. They got, vehicles that are gonna be there, they got all kinds of people, he named them all off, I can't remember what
They're
he
not
told me, but
Lancaster,
all, a
they're
lot of.
Lancaster?
yeah.
Kimball's,
is in
Is it
Yeah,
Lancaster?
Kimball's
is-
I don't know if
it's
They
in
got two,
Logan.
they got one in
It's on
Lancaster,
Sunday.
one in West,
I
That's the one I was thinking of.
This
I
one
was
is
thinking
Lancaster.
Westford.
This is
Westford,
Lancaster.
Littleton, yeah.
So anyways,
When I was a kid, I'd go there.
he would like
So
us
there's
to
another
set
one,
up
So
there.
70.
So
yeah,
it's
there's
from,
one,
Wait, excuse me,
on-
3 people can't
Okay.
talk at once, cause I can't hear, I'm sorry.
so he would like us to set up
Fridays.
for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He said there's thousands of people that go by, 10 to 6. So I said, well, what if we run out of stuff? He said, well, you better get some more. So I said, Jesus, I wonder if I can get that wholesale place down
What
there.
is this, to sell things, you mean?
To sell things, but I said, we can't pay $175 for the table. I said, I'm sorry, but we can't do that, cause this all goes back into our Memorial Day fund.
Yeah.
And we can't do that. So he walked around and the other guy came over, but I was busy selling it, I didn't talk to him. But he came back with this, and he said, I just wanna tell you, he said, no charge if you come, but we want you to come and be there.
Very nice.
Issue is, 3 days, 10
10
to
to
6.
6, and that's.
I don't mind doing it, I love that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna do it all by myself.
Right.
I'll be
And
there.
if we could break it up, like maybe you could do 10 to 4 hours, somebody else could do 4 hours, you have 2 people,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, since
But
it's
it's for
gonna be a
3
event, I could
days,
definitely
and you
take my
can't park your
wife
car
and daughter.
behind it.
What are the dates?
The dates is Labor Day weekend,
Yeah, it's Labor Day weekend. This, this
Saturday,
is,
Sunday, Monday,
so
That's the
listen,
problem.
I don't have.
I was over at, Monty Tech today to pick up some note cards from town. And Shane Dillon, who is the commander over there, Mr. Bean suggested that we reach out to him because the kids from Hubbardston have to do community service. And maybe they may be willing to, this could go towards their community service.
You'd
Because
still
I
have
think
to
it's
have
a
an
great,
adult
I
with
think
them.
it's a great idea, Claude, but 3 days, that's a big
You
commitment.
can probably, by the way, commit to a day or 2 in not 3 days.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they want you to commit for 3
Yeah,
days.
and they
That's
also
the
said
thing. I
they
know how
look-
that is when you put
they-
on these kind of
Yeah.
events, you don't want a hole. He said, I'll put you right where you need to be, right in the middle of the 2 veterans. Not only did I think we might be able to sell something, I'm thinking the contacts we could make from there. There's gonna be a lot of veterans organizations there, a lot of people I think that could help us with our parade.
Tunnels to, he said that he wanted to put us next to Tunnels to Tower. If you-
Tunnels to Tower,
Yeah,
okay. I
that's
don't-
what he said, he says,
Now, what
I
is
can
Tunnels
put you
to
next
Tower?
to Tunnels to Tower.
What is that?
It's for servicemen or anybody like, police officers that get killed on the job, they,
Remember the guy,
they pay up the
in
mortgage
New
of their
York,
house,
his brother
the
got
house.
killed in 9/11.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one that runs it, he's on
Yeah.
television all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Fred Siller.
I don't know, I just thought not only would it give us a chance to build up our little fund, but it would also give us a chance to, and I wouldn't mind, I don't mind even going for, I would go as long as, I would go. I don't mind. But
It's
and my husband would probably go with me.
Yeah.
We could probably do one whole day. And then I wouldn't mind coming
Great
back.
food.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Free food? I don't know if they give
I
you
don't
free
know.
food.
No,
Great
it's not, great food,
Great
yeah.
Great
Great
food.
food, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they got
Yeah.
great
got the
food.
best
And
food.
and the ice cream is on.
I know the manager very well, Mary Beth, she's a very nice lady.
So Bob, you would do 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, what would you do?
I couldn't tell you exactly right now, but I definitely do 1 day, maybe all of 3 days.
Right? Alright, so Bob, you would be willing to do that? I would be willing to do that. I know my husband would, if he's,
And that's the
feeling
thing, we
well.
need to recruit, and, I mean, if we got the kids,
Mike, would you be willing to do something like that?
I'll look ahead at the calendar.
Yeah.
Look at the
I mean,
calendar, see, I mean, I'm not saying we're gonna do it, it's just that we're trying to set it up to see if anybody would be willing.
Well, certainly for 1 day, half a shift, would you say 10 to 6?
Yeah.
You know, it basically kills a whole day,
And you can
you
leave,
know.
you can leave everything right
What,
there.
what
Yeah.
exactly would you be doing?
Selling
Selling.
t-shirts and
Oh,
hats,
so you have to have more stuff
Yeah.
made before you.
well,
well,
But
that's
if we
the-
buy, like,
She's still got quite a few, especially
Yeah.
at this year's.
Yeah, but we don't have any medium. Well, we've got mediums on one style t-shirt, but not on the other. We don't have any extra large, triple X large. it's enlarged, we don't have enough, and
Yeah.
it's like, you have to develop another T-shirt, I think, or do the black ones over.
And obviously, there's nobody else as a vendor that has that type of stuff. That's part of the reason he wants you there, which is good.
Yeah.
Cause you don't wanna be competing against,
No.
Yeah.
Joe Smith across the way.
And I think you could get more than what we were charging at that. He said there's thousands of people that come through that for that weekend.
Yeah.
So there's a huge group of people that come through it. But you know what? If everybody says no, it's no, I don't
Yeah.
care. But I mean, for me, I would do it.
Well,
Is that right on 117?
can we?
Yeah.
And then you know what we would do?
70.
70, okay. Another.
Literally, I would not be available. I have a commitment to
Yeah, I
Mendon
know.
Drive-In. The last 7 years, we do Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Mendon Drive-In, take cars down
Oh,
and
how
raise money for
fun
the
is
Michael J.
that?
Fox Foundation.
Mendon Drive-In?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uncle Lawrence never heard about that.
Yeah,
Is it for the
Twin Drive-In in Mendon,
for
Yeah.
the,
16.
for the old cars?
Well, this is, they'll show Back to the Future or Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
And we bring the vehicles down,
Oh,
and
okay.
then, between 5:30 PM and when they begin the shows, we have the vehicles out, people come up, get their picture taken, so on and so forth. And, we, can sell things that relate to the movie, like license plates and stuff
Okay,
like
so
that.
we're
Nice.
losing the chief in 6 minutes, cause he's got an important phone call.
Yep.
Another thing that was thrown out, and I'm
Your
throwing
girlfriend?
this one out real quick. Katie Young, they're having, movie nights, or what do they do, band or
The-
concerts?
Yeah, there's a couple
Concerts
of
in the park.
concerts.
And she said that if we wanted to set up down there to sell the hats and the T-shirts, she'd be more than happy to accommodate us anytime.
Yeah.
Now,
I
see,
think-
that's one I would not do, because I think we've exhausted the whole town.
Yeah.
We passed them out to everybody in town, we were up there at the thing, we passed
Okay.
it out. I think we've exhausted the town, that's where I wouldn't wanna waste my time, cause I don't think we would make any money. If it would be $50, a big deal.
Yeah.
So that, but if somebody else wanted to do that, that's
Except it'd
wonderful.
only be like a 2-hour commitment.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, we do have
You
that
could try it.
additional field day that's in like September, I think it is.
Yes.
I mean, we could, that would be a more appropriate outlet to maybe like do like some crowdfunding, some donations and selling some T-shirts. Maybe we could do it as like a, 50 to the shirt, 70 to the shirt, 30 to the Memorial Day Fund, in town, if that
We'd
makes
wanna
sense.
get you reimbursed, for sure.
oh, if I
No,
owe
it's
them
just
more, you
that,
mean?
Yeah.
Scott, whatever
Get you
monies we
reimbursed.
get, it goes right
You
into
get
the
reimbursed
fund.
this time, right?
It
Yeah.
goes right back into the fund.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
Yeah,
talking
everything
about
goes into
like
the fund.
the 70 would go towards the shirts for next year, and then the 30 would go right
We have a
into the fund.
budget of $1,500, and that's what has come, that's come out of there.
Alright.
Ladies, you did a great job.
Mhm.
Did you get wet
Thank you.
No, did I get
No.
one?
Saturday when it rained? You
It
guys-
only rained
Oh.
like
Rain
It
in
rained.
garden.
Rained a little
No.
bit, we had a tent.
It didn't rain for long anyways.
No.
We got a
Okay.
quick sprinkle and
Yeah,
that's
that was it,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it was good, it was fun.
So what do you,
It
what's,
did
Did a
in
lot of
garden
talking.
Make sure you thank the
what's the
fire
plan,
department
Dave?
for washing down
gonna
the
have
street
another
after
meeting
the
at some
monsoon.
point?
Oh, did they?
Think about it, you know?
Every time there was
Okay,
piece
so
of
how
crap
about
on the floor,
if,
you
on
put
this
fire
thing
truck.
here,
right on the spot.
we don't wanna say die, we're not saying no, but I think we need to communicate, and who is really willing to make the commitment to this? Because,
Me and Bob.
you know,
Raj.
thank you very
But I,
much.
Chief. You're
I
welcome.
don't know.
Have a good one, bud.
Yeah.
Good night.
I think we need, it's like, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it, if we're not, we're not.
If we're gonna
Gotta
do it,
figure
we're gonna
out-
do it, and if we're not
And we
gonna
need
do
to
it, we're not
figure
gonna do
this
it.
out in a week. So if you're,
A
if
week?
you're willing.
Only gives you a week to sign it?
No, but you gotta have a deadline, or it's 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you gotta figure out whether you're gonna do it or not. Okay, so if you wanna do it, call,
And now, it's for Labor Day?
it's Labor Day weekend.
Doesn't have to be the whole
When
weekend.
when do you wanna meet for Memorial Day next year?
So Labor Day
August.
week is like a tough one for me because being in bread, that's like, I'm probably
Yeah.
gonna be pushing around like
Yep.
8,500 pieces for the week, so by like Saturday, I'm probably not gonna be able to function. But Sunday, after a good 8 hours sleep, I probably would be able to do it, since it would be a family outing and my daughter and wife can go enjoy an ice cream and stuff like that.
Kimmel's has good ice cream.
Yeah.
Oh, they do, and they have fun things for
yes.
kids, they'll have other functions for the kids and whatever.
Yeah.
Well, think about it, if it's not,
Think
it
about it.
doesn't matter, I just feel like it would give us a great
Yeah.
opportunity to meet some people, make some,
Has
Connection.
plenty of assets.
yeah.
So what do you wanna do for Memorial Day next year? January or something?
No.
Agenda, where are we on the agenda?
Open discussion.
Okay, I would like to submit, we need to have a grand marshal for next year. I would like to submit two names
Yep.
for potential thought. And here are, it's not the most appropriate biography because it's literally an obituary. Okay.
Obituary for Barbara, I'll be there.
That actually,
Give one of those to Mike.
that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Thank you.
Do the grand marshal for somebody that's
I
not
got
here.
one here for you. Let's talk about
Thank you.
the grand marshal first. That's one. Here's the second, Dennis O'Donnell. Both of whom have passed away. And like I said, this wasn't meant to be a biography, it was meant to be, make sure Mike gets one.
Thank you.
In my opinion, the Grand Marshal does not necessarily have to be a veteran. Grand Marshal should be somebody who represents the town, who has done a lot of service to the town, and is someone that should be honored in that regard. And if you read over the obituaries for these two individuals, you may or may not have known them, and this is nothing, this isn't a mandate by any means. It's meant to be something that I believe the committee should think about. Both of these individuals I happen to know, and they were great people. So, in light of, we have plenty of time, you guys have plenty of time to think about that. You know, that is what I would recommend, that either of them would be appropriate. The Lions are doing something for Dennis O'Donnell. I'm not sure what, but I happen to know that they are. Barbara Hubbard's daughter contacted me, and I also told Barbara, because she asked if I could help, and I told Barbara that we should contact the town, and perhaps Barbara would be acknowledged next year in the annual report. Because there isn't a committee in town she didn't serve on.
Right.
You know, and Barbara was the type of person, you would rather be her friend than not be her friend. But
I remember her from town meetings.
Yeah.
She was,
very vocal,
she
but
she spoke
she
her mind.
knew
that's for
her stuff,
Yes, she
and
did.
she loved our town. So,
Okay, thank you, Bill.
yeah, and you all know that my term ends on the 30th of June, and I did not renew my membership. But I have told Susan that I will still advise. I run two full-time businesses and a nonprofit, and my time is very encumbered. So I have been happy to serve for the last 2 years on the committee, and I won't disappear, but we need to find more people to take on the responsibilities that are associated with the overall logistics, the volunteering.
Yes.
And I would say that young people would be great. I think that today you had a door opened, and that was when you went to Monty Tech, and they said there are young men and women, youngsters, teenagers that need to do community. That's a perfect way of getting
Yeah.
them involved. And if they're the future of the town, getting them in. I mean, right up to and including potential membership on a committee, and
Yeah.
putting in time like that to learn
What
what goes into
takes,
it.
yeah.
I think that, and you will soon determine whether or not there'll be an asset
Mhm.
and make a choice on that. So, in case you weren't aware of my future with it. And I would ask Claudia, do you intend to serve like in an unofficial capacity or be a member?
I don't know. It depends on who's staying and who's not. I gotta have it, I
I'm
love
not putting you on the spot, Amy.
No, I
Okay.
love to have a committee that's focused and will work on it and not say they're gonna do something and not do it. And I like to have someone who's really interested and really has passion for it. That's you. You are amazing. And John Nason in his day, he was amazing. He's 90, it's hard for him, but yet he's come back in the focus.
Yeah.
But we can't expect him to do what he
No.
used to do. But he was an amazing man to work with. I worked with him for 15 years. I love the guy. So when people like you step out, there's the hole.
Yeah.
And I put in a lot of effort, and when I see other people putting in a lot of effort, I don't mind. So I'm saddened that you're gonna not be there, I'm saddened about that, I understand,
If I could clone myself, I would, but I can't. And I
I
also
know.
have other family obligations and,
So I'll just have to, we'll have to see, but, and.
I also think that that would be another point why you might wanna consider doing the concerts in the park. And that is that if, once again, it's a minimal commitment.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that we get, I mean, I sponsored movies in the park for 2 years
Mhm.
and tried our best to advertise that and outreach.
How does that go when you have them?
It was, I was disappointed by the turnout. I paid for the police details that night. The pizza place gave us free pizza. It was in the middle of the summer, and the first time we got rained out 2 weeks in a row, so it was the
Yeah.
third time around, that hurt. We had about 80 people come. The second time, no rain out, we had about 100 people come. I think my fail-safe would have been 150. I would have liked to have seen that, but the ones that came had a good time. It gets a little cold up there on the field at night after the sun goes down,
Yeah.
and that's when you show it. This will be during the day or early evening, and I think that having that 2-hour commitment enables you to do more than just sell merchandise.
Yeah.
You can outreach and look for people who would be interested in being on the memorial committee, because you are gonna need more members.
Yeah.
They can't be
Yeah.
bodies, they gotta be members.
Yeah.
So, I know from the past when, with the Hubbardston Cultural Council, when we did the fair and we were looking to recruit,
Mhm.
we got one person. Boom, that's what we needed, and it was a good member.
Yep.
So there are still people that don't know about the Memorial Day Committee.
Mhm.
And if you could have some way of doubling your nut
Yeah.
by outreaching at that point, and you just get one or two, not pressuring them, but
Yeah.
people that might follow up, and you have a way of them contacting you, would love to have you.
Mhm.
Fellow that showed up on Memorial Day, who I was out with, Ford, Benjamin
Ben.
Ford.
And but we never heard anything from him again, I mean, I talked to him on the phone.
Yeah, he has a full-time, daytime job working in Boston. So he can't get to meetings and so on
Right.
and so forth, and he couldn't even commit to being there on Memorial Day until that day.
Right.
He's in a security at Logan Airport, so I guess he's very
Mhm.
encumbered, so,
Yeah.
literally.
But that's kind of the, like you say, they might not be able to coming to the meetings is one thing, but to be there when floats need to be made, when floats need to be broken down.
Yeah,
When
those
you're
are.
doing the lineup,
Yeah,
that's when you
but those are
need-
volunteers.
That's when you need people.
The people that need to come to do the decorating and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
Those are very important people.
absolutely.
They're, like you say, as important as members, but you still have to have members
You have to have the members that would be
Right.
nice and strong.
to have a
help
quorum,
you.
number one, to
Yeah.
be very positive with input. But to have the members have to have all the responsibility and no good volunteers, well, you're gonna burn people out.
Right.
Yeah.
So my advice would be to ally with Katie and possibly do, you know, you put up the
You don't
10 by
have to
10
do-
tent, you have the merchandise out there.
Mhm.
Even if you didn't sell much, not gonna cost you anything. You're gonna listen to the music and have an opportunity to interact with people who otherwise may not know about us.
Right.
So
So, and you don't have to do every one, because I
No,
don't know
no.
how often that's gonna be
she's
happening.
got 2 planned.
Yeah.
Just two planned?
And, cause the cultural council,
Right,
which I've served on for 8 years, is funded, partially funded her.
okay,
And so I'm looking forward to those. I think that, I love the idea of having people come out in the evening from our
Yeah.
town
Yeah.
and come together and talk and chat for half an hour beforehand, and then potentially listen to some good music.
Plus they got that new pavilion that's going up in the.
Yeah.
I saw that yesterday, that
Yeah.
looks like it's gonna be a good time.
I don't think it's funded yet, but it's certainly planned.
Yeah.
And are we losing Tom?
no,
No,
he's
no,
the
he
only,
signed up.
he's the only one who said, yes, I will,
Oh.
yeah.
So that's another thought, that we need to designate a master of ceremonies, and that is something that your committee is gonna be talking about in the future. I think that our town administrator would be a good candidate. Maybe he would like to be involved in that capacity. So reaching out to him, I mean, he was a speaker,
Yeah.
and instead of him being a speaker, maybe he could be a master of ceremonies. Food for thought.
It's good food for thought. So, if I'm understanding what you're saying is, for Veterans Day, we are honoring those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
You mean Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, I'm sorry, you're right, thank you. Memorial Day. It does not have to be a veteran.
For our master of ceremonies.
Master of ceremonies.
Or I don't believe there's a law that says you have to be, so.
Or
No.
Grand Marshal.
mm.
That's something to think about.
We could always do that as the master of ceremonies, we could always have that as like the guest speaker as well too, you know, whoever, like Fiola would have absolutely no problem like coming in here and helping us run
Yeah.
things on that day.
Good guy.
But whoever we
That
have
was me, I
Major.
feel.
Major Hill.
in all sense, like next year, when we do actually pick or get the person that's gonna be our keynote speaker at the end, we should have them involved with the meetings in some way or capacity. So that way, like his voice, you know, the voice of the group is the voice of what's gonna happen on the
Of the
stage.
committee and stuff, yeah.
Because I provided him with a, kind of a guideline of what we're looking for.
Yeah.
He nailed it. I mean, it
And
was-
like, even if it's like something over Zoom or something like that, we could always function that like as part of the meeting as well too. But I think the biggest focus that we really need to do is really reaching out to the younger generation of war veterans. And as I was saying before, the problem a lot of these veterans are having right now is not feeling like their voices are heard. And it happened in Vietnam veterans, it happened in World War II veterans, where they came back and they feel like their voice is not valued enough to be in a situation like this. And we experienced that with Abigail when she came to one meeting, and then all of a sudden, basically, she disappeared. It's because she felt there, in a sense, from her, that she felt like
the
her,
lady that came to
her,
one meeting.
her voice wasn't really heard inside the group. And we need to get a little bit more progressive in attracting new members to this group by being able to listen to the current problems and situations that people
And
have.
Scott, that would be a perfect job for you.
Yeah.
Especially with Abigail would be the one-on-one, and saying that certainly the committee made no effort to exclude her,
No,
and she was a guest.
yeah,
But you talking to her, and now that you got all that experience by coming to all these meetings,
Yeah.
saying, you certainly don't feel that we would have done that overtly. So-
No, and I hate to say it, a lot of times things can come off passive aggressively in life in general. So a lot of times it could be something that could have been misconstrued at the time and basically taken the wrong way. So
Would you like to take that upon yourself? to
yeah, I mean, like,
potentially speak to
I
it?
would love to be able to like try to recruit new members and basically new outlets for this group, because honestly, you know, granted, there was like, what, 7 of us this year. It could be a little bit more of a voice being heard in the town if we had more members in here, either putting in input or having resources outside of this group to basically collaborate and get a better result on the.
I'd also strongly therefore recommend that you say to Abigail, by all means, she should contact our VOA, Lauren.
Yeah,
Lauren, that's what she's here for,
yeah,
to work one-on-one, to do assessments, and unless she would feel intimidated by Lauren, but she shouldn't, because.
no.
Yeah, so.
Lauren's pretty awesome,
So I think that, but I think hearing it from you would be the best way of doing it, and say, you know, by all means, because that's what Lauren's here for.
And the next 2 years is gonna be really tough to grab people, because there is current level veterans that deployed to Iraq that are getting deployed to a couple of countries that I can't disclose at the moment. But there's a massive deployment going on right now. And so a lot of these veterans aren't gonna be available to us in the next like 2 to 3 years.
Okay. I would also recommend as new business that the group begins thinking about a theme for next year.
Do we have to have, the members have to be from town, or can we have members from out of town
I believe they should be.
on the board?
Uh,
Cause there are strong members that might wanna be on the committee that do a lot in Hubbardston, but.
Chair, I would recommend that you speak with the town administrator to see if there's any rule regarding that. You know, if there isn't,
you
I mean,
could
there's
reach
probably some
other places.
smaller towns that don't actually have like a Memorial Day parade, that would
Well,
make
I know
sense.
Gardner is falling apart. I mean, we had people from Gardner, it's falling apart. I would reach over to Gardner, I know some people
Yeah.
there. You know,
and it was too bad because as you may recall, I reached out to Barry.
yes.
And I asked Barry if they would like to get
Combine.
together with us and combine it, but that went nowhere. I talked to the chairperson and he said, no, not interested. And I didn't leave it at that. I said, can you tell me why? And he said, well, I just don't think there's enough mutual interest. Distance is a factor, 7 miles. And so, but I didn't get first base on that, so. Okay.
Anything else? Do I?
Well, I think we've got quite, you know, we've got, you know, Bob, you gonna stay on? Maybe
Yeah.
Mike might come on, he's a great guy, he's a great help.
Well,
Scott,
you've gotta make a commitment. And
That's the thing.
And that's, if you can't make the time commitment, and especially for the time of year, you know, that's just false hope.
Yeah.
So at
Oh,
this
yeah, yeah.
point, I can't make that commitment. But I showed up at this meeting for a reason. And the reason is that I feel strongly about Memorial Day, I feel strongly about the town, and that if I were to throw my name in the hat, so to speak, that if I came to the wrap-up meeting, I would understand many of the issues. I'd be more valuable by having already been introduced to this wrap-up, which I thought was very good. And I do have one, I echo many of the comments that were made. One that is new is that we had an older veteran that needed some help. And the problem with older people in general, and probably the veterans more so, is that they're not gonna reach out. And I kind of was watching for this situation. It happened, somebody that I'm getting closer to here in town, and so I just took him under my wing. And I you know, took him literally by the arm and got him to his car and got him, you know, around. And that, I would definitely volunteer to be that person on that day to keep an eye out on some of our more elderly people. You know, they need to have a handler, so to speak.
I'd like to talk to you
So I
after,
had one
because I had a
veteran-
couple ideas about that.
Okay, good.
I had one veteran say to me, I mean, I was surprised he even came. So he came, his daughters were with him, they had to undress him, put his shirt on him, help him get on. He says to me, Clyde, Jesus, we made one more year. I don't know if I'll be here next year, but I made it this year. And you know what, the older veterans, they wanna be they wanna be recognized.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good thing.
As well it should.
Yeah. It's kinda sad, but it was a good thing, yeah. So,
Thank you.
Cool.
Anybody else? May I have a motion to adjourn our meeting, please?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.
when are you gonna have the next meeting?
Anybody against it?
Oh, our next meeting will be, well, I mean, we used to do it in August. That's what we did last year. Do we wanna do it in August again?
Yeah, because honestly, like a lot of the stuff that we kind of missed, like going into this year, scheduling and recruiting people to be on Memorial Day for this year should start earlier than, than
So,
we did.
what will we work on while we're waiting till August comes? Are we gonna work on recruiting?
We gotta work on
Uh,
recruiting, we gotta work on, making sure that everything that's gonna be part of the Memorial Day gets, and all the paperwork and everything else like that, plus the backups, should be focused on as well.
What are you talking about, Scott?
So like, like Bill was saying, like actually have a physical band here, more,
Would you like to take over that, Scott?
more military presence when we're here. I was actually talking to the chief earlier today, and a lot of the country in the next couple of years are going to be really focusing on the 22 a day, and the main reason being is since Vietnam we have been losing 22 veterans a day to suicide, and I know that everybody's like rolling their eyes about it, but it is a real current issue that veterans are dealing with. They come back here and they feel like they're not actually hurt. Again, that's a big issue. And a lot of towns are basically a lot of towns and cities are starting it's called 22K for 22 a day on Memorial Day. And I was mentioning to the chief earlier, it would be great if we actually got onto that next year and scheduled the start of the Ruck March to basically go in front of the parade, basically start wherever 22K is in town, march up the street, and then as soon as the Ruck Marchers basically go past the first car, that's when we start rolling everything out. And the fact of the matter is, if we bring more response to that, then a lot of veterans feel like they can actually come out and say, hey, you know what, I'm having these issues. Hey, I can talk to the VSO about what I'm currently dealing with, instead of it basically being blindly not heard.
Scott, I'm a little confused. What is a rut, what did you call it, a rut cave?
A
What
Ruck
is it?
March.
Is that a group of soldiers?
So it'd basically be like I would do it in a heartbeat, because like I used to love Ruck marching, but like it's where you have a pack on your back and you're basically carrying the weight on your shoulders for other soldiers.
So,
And so basically 22K is what
Mile plus.
yeah.
so is this something
It's
that
a
you said
12
you would do
miles
it
or
on
something
Memorial
like
Day,
that.
or would this be
Yeah,
a separate
I-
event?
I would say
14 and a
like
half, yeah.
Memorial Day would be the best time to put it, because a lot of towns are really starting this
Okay, so
and doing
how-
like some sort of variant of that.
How do we get to learn more about that? Cause you know what, I think that's a great idea.
Well,
I
Major
think
Fielder
that's a bit-
is one of the
Yeah.
founders of Tough Ruck.
Yeah, he actually, I mentioned this to him, 2 days ago, and he said that's absolutely a great idea. So I was gonna basically reach
I
out
would
to
say
him.
food for thought at the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Come up with a more of a plan on that, and I think if
Yeah,
you guys
and,
discuss
I
it.
you know,
think
map
it's
it out
excellent.
and where it would be and, you know, what.
But
well,
take
we
a
would have
look
to,
at Memorial
I would
Day.
have to get with the chief to figure out where, you know,
Go
where we
ahead.
could start and where the safest, like, part of the town would be.
Yep, go ahead.
I don't think this hill coming up to the center of town would be a great idea.
But are you saying they'd march with the parade? Like they'd
No,
start
so
with the
basically,
parade?
like, so originally the Tough Ruck started when they were doing the Boston Marathon. They would start at like 3 a.m. marching to Boston, and then they basically do the 26.2 miles to get into Boston. And actually, that last one where Fiola had to deal with the Boston Marathon bombing, he just got off of doing the Ruck March
So how would we
26.2.
include them in the Memorial Day parade is my question.
He basically would get the ruck. The rucks could be decorated to basically honor the 22 that get lost every single day.
Rocks?
Ruck.
Nice, okay.
Let's call. I'll call it a backpack for the time being. But in a case where this would be concerned, you basically like, you know, I don't know if we have any veterans in the town that, you know, have, you know, lost their lives to suicide or anything else like that. But we could basically either do it as, I mean, one of the things that I mentioned to Fiola is to basically do like a kind of statement that says, you know, we're holding up for you guys. You could get basically 22 like blank like dog tags hanging from the backpack, and that would be
Oh,
like
I-
honoring them.
From a logistical standpoint, to simplify it, if they were to do the 22K, that's, you know, 22 kilometers, which is about 14 and a half miles. The last portion of it, let's say the last 1/3 of a mile, they could be with the parade. They could do their own thing earlier in the day, but we would announce that in addition to the parade, we have this other crusade going on, and that they would join up right at the end and they could finish off by being part of the parade, so people would know, oh, that's why they're
Yeah.
here, so that they could fit in.
We could do a little, I think that's a
Yeah,
great idea.
you could fit in.
I really
Also,
think
you
it's-
might wanna, in between time, decide whether or not you're gonna, once we have the dates for the concert,
Yep.
decide if you're gonna do that, because then we need to have.
Bill, would
volunteers.
you, I know you're not gonna be on the board anymore, but are you still gonna be around to help us set up, or are you
I'm
gonna
trying
be
my
able to?
best. Mhm.
Be able to, we can call you and say, Bill, what do you think,
Yeah,
or, you know,
sure.
I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
without
won't
being a
change my
pain,
number.
without being a pain in the ass, that's the thing.
Yeah.
We don't wanna be a pain in the butt, oh
No.
damn it, it's them calling.
Unless
us
if you
again.
call about his car extended warranty or something like that.
Yeah,
right.
right.
And me and Sue need that, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
sometimes we need a kick in the head.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
As long as the two of you are staying around,
Yeah.
I'll help.
Okay.
Promise.
Thank you. We're gonna hold you to that, though,
Yeah.
because, yeah.
Don't
Todd
get
and I
mad at us.
talked about it.
No, I have.
I think that's a great
Yeah.
idea. That would be a great idea. What a great thing.
So 14 miles would actually start at Walmart.
Walmart? No, it's only
Mhm.
4.5
Center of
miles
town?
to the center of town.
It's 10
Maybe-
miles from the center of town to hold it.
12 miles from here to Princeton.
That's an easy
No.
thing though, just map it out, make it flat.
Yeah.
You know, if you literally did it, is it not 14 miles from 122A to the center of Hubbardston?
10.
Probably
It's
14, no.
Center, 122A
One
to
oh.
center of Hubbardston?
No, it's more because I know, I live in Princeton and it takes me 12 miles to get to my road. It's 12 miles from here,
That's an
So-
easy one though, you
Yeah,
can
so
figure
it's
that out.
about-
And that wouldn't be a bad,
walk.
68 north from 122A. Isn't too bad, except the last one coming up the hill.
Yeah, that
Coming up the
hill's
hill,
a
it's,
nightmare.
it kills you.
So you're gonna be matching
From
that?
that and walk up. Oh, yeah.
I'm actually getting back to the point where I can run again. Like, Brett has actually like made me lose like, 50
We're
pounds.
not adjourned
Good
yet.
for you. Meeting's adjourned, yeah.
Oh,
Mike?
next meeting,
Mike has one more comment?
Yes, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the risk of extending the meeting, there was a motion for adjournment, but you didn't vote on it, I don't
Right.
believe, so. The Ruck March, you know, you can do loops, and then you can pick the terrain, people can see, you know, if you came up and hit 68
Yeah.
or something, and then,
Oh,
hey, they
Rec
just
field.
came by,
Yeah.
you know, and then you don't have to
Because
go
the-
point,
Fourth or
you don't have to go point to point, you can do loops. I mean, that's done in a lot of quote-unquote races and other
And
events
a
of
good
this
idea,
sort.
because you could gather interest by doing that.
Well, that's the point. Plus, if there was a problem, you know, you can help someone, you know.
Yeah,
whatnot.
and being at the rec
Logistically,
field,
it's
you have
better.
like the ability to, call for help if you needed it too.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Uh,
Okay,
and
we need a
that's what-
second motion.
The logistics also, Scott, if you're gonna have something like that, somebody's gotta be following these people to make sure if somebody falls or whatever.
Well, they take care of themselves, I think.
They take care of
You know,
themselves.
that's
Okay.
the whole point of
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
Good.
basically
We
it's
don't have
all
to
about
worry about
lifting
it.
each other up.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I mean,
next-
it's a good idea and it needs to be done, but I'll bet they'll set it up themselves. They'll take care of it.
Okay, our next meeting. So, we've talked about a lot of different things tonight. I gotta talk to Katie Young and see when those,
Yeah, because I don't think she
Movie
has a date
things.
yet. I was,
Do we have
To be
people
scheduled.
that wanna come up to the
I'll,
movie thing,
um,
who wants to come up and
It's on
help?
the Hubbardston People forum, and, I will forward that to you when I get actual service on my phone. Like, I don't have service on my phone. If I had tin cans in a string, I'd be able to tell you right now.
yeah, really, okay, because.
So you wanna have it the end of August?
We have to meet before, or do we have to meet? If I say, I mean, I would go and do that, it's only a couple of hours,
You can always make a phone call and say, who's
Yeah.
gonna come up?
yeah, we don't need a meeting for that. So, the summer's here, I'm thinking if we meet in August,
On a Wednesday, you're gonna keep it on a
do
Wednesday?
you wanna, today's Monday, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wednesdays would be fine, do you want to,
Wednesdays I have off, so basically like any time of the day.
but Tom, Wednesday, he's got that commitment for the
Right.
Holden
Right.
Farmers.
right, that's Tuesday, there's the Holden Farmers.
Is it Tuesday today?
Yeah.
Okay, I heard him say it once and I wasn't sure.
Do you wanna do August 16th?
Yeah.
August 16th, I'm thinking 3. What are you thinking, Clyde? On a
Um,
Wednesday.
The problem with 3
People
o'clock.
might work.
Yeah, the problem with 3 o'clock, like people like Dan who wants to be really involved, he doesn't get back into town until like 4:30. So,
What you make-
yeah.
5.
Yeah, 5 o'clock would be a better option.
On the weekend.
Can we meet on weekends? Are we not allowed?
I,
I can't do on weekends.
No.
My house is like a crazy place, I can't do it.
because it doesn't have to be done within business hours of the town.
Does not.
No.
Who's Dan
If you
now?
have a-
Do we have Dan that's
Dan
coming on board?
DuBois.
Huh?
Dan DuBois.
Yeah.
He's the one whose father was the commander down in Connecticut, that's why he couldn't be here.
Oh,
He's a Marine.
Is
Yeah.
he,
He's
Gonna
been
be on
at
the
most
board?
of our
He's a
meetings.
he's a good kid and he's an HVAC guy, so be friends with him. Especially here since we lose power all the time.
Get a generator. Anyway, can we adjourn?
Yes.
Sure.
Somebody's gonna say it. I make a
I make a
motion.
motion, we adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Anyway, it's
Vote on it.
5:30.
Second and third.
Thank you,
Or-
guys.